So I think I have time to film this quickly before I go out for the evening, but this is a book haul. If you were watching my channel about a month ago, I did an unhaul video. I was going to take them to a local used bookshop and trade them in for store credit, and that is exactly what I did today. So I came away with about 10 books. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 books. I came away with 9 books, and this is them. So I picked up One Way Street by Marian Engel, I'm not sure. This is a book that I have never heard of. It was in the CanLit section. It appears to be set in Greece, published in 1973. This is a 1974 paperback edition, and I'll just read the back for you since I know absolutely nothing about it. Her first 2 books, Sarah's Bastard's Notebook and The Honeyman Festival, demonstrated that Marian Engel is a Canadian novelist with a marvelous talent for portraying women. In One Way Street, we meet another of her heroines, Audrey Moore, intelligent, Canadian, 36, facts which help her not at all during her sojourn on a Greek island where she is staying with her estranged husband, a has-been concert pianist with sexual proclivities which do not include Audrey. Although she senses that life on the island will be a one-way street for her, the heroine becomes deeply involved with the island's characters and finally takes a Greek lover, to the disgust of an island crone who sits in Audrey's doorway, loudly lamenting the young woman's sins to passerbys. The tensions of Audrey's island life explode in a hilarious finale as she ends her stay with pilgrimage to a Greek monastery where the bishop attempts her seduction. A tragi-comic masterpiece, One Way Street is an intensely readable novel about Canadians in an alien land. Yeah, so this caught my eye. The cover caught my eye. Very simplistic, but it should be interesting. I will read this sometime soon and probably give you a review of this one. There were a couple of other novels by her on the shelf. One that actually looked more interesting to me. It was the one mentioned on the back here, Sarah's Bastard's Notebook, but there wasn't a price in it. This one was $3.50. There was no price written in the other one, and I did not feel like taking the time to bother the cashier and see if he could find a price for me. Then I picked up another book that I've never heard of and know nothing about. This is The Celebration by Ivan Angelo. I hope I'm getting that right. It says it's the winner of the Brazilian Publishers Prize, first publication in English in the translation of Thomas Colchi. And it's got an interesting, slightly bizarre cover to it. Apparently it was first published in 1976, and this particular edition is from 1982. I'll read the back for you because once again I know nothing about it. The Triumph of Censorship. In one of the most controversial novels to emerge from modern Brazil, Ivan Angelo tells of the strange reality of Latin America as revealed by the omissions of censorship. The time is the evening of March 30th, 1970, when a group of wealthy people gather for a birthday celebration. Simultaneously, a group of migrant workers is halted from settling in the town by the police. In time, the two groups become involved with each other, and the police begin their investigation, their degradation, and their torture of the workers and partygoers. It is only in the long final chapter, after celebration, that the police and the reader are able to construct the horrifying climax. Upon its publication in 1976, Ivan Angelo said, "I hope to make the reader an accomplice not only in shaping the actual text, but in determining its significance, since my intention has been to provide wider participation in the terrible problems we face at the moment in Brazil." Should be an interesting read. I hope it is as good as it sounds on the back. And then I picked up a couple of novels by an author that I've not read anything from. I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce this, whether the J is silent, but it's either Jorge Amado or... I'm just going to hold the book up. Anyway, this author, I picked up Donna Flor and Her Two Husbands, A Moral and Amorous Tale, as well as Gabriella, Clove and Cinnamon. I'll start with this one, Donna Flora and Her Two Husbands. The back describes it as an extraordinary adventure by Brazil's foremost novelist. One wants Flora to have everything, including her roguish, passionate husband, who died of his exhortations, and her new husband, a considerate gentleman. In a country of many gods and even occasional miracles, Flora approaches the divine Exu and stirs up more than old memories, and only she knows she has two husbands, one living and one dead, each consummately skilled in his own way in the infinite art of love. That doesn't really tell me much about it. It does say it's translated by Harriet de Onis. If you know anything about this book or the author, how to pronounce the author's name, I'd appreciate it. I believe I've heard of this author before, but I've never read anything, and I'm not familiar with any of his works. The other one is almost as ambiguous in its description. Gabriella comes to a place I can't pronounce from the backlands of Brazil, one of a flock of dirty, beg-rattled migrant workers. Nasib, owner of the town's most popular cafe, was so desperate to replace his cook that he hired Gabriella immediately. She soon proved to be not only an excellent chef, but, once scrubbed and decently clothed, a great beauty as well, and Nasib found himself owner of the most prosperous business and most sought-after woman in town. Translated by James L. Taylor and William Grossman. I really like the cover on this book. Anyway, I apologize for my poor pronunciation there, but I did get a couple of other ones. I picked up the first in a series of biographies about former Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, father of current Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and this is a book that I read maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It is Young Trudeau, 1919 to 1944, son of Quebec, father of Canada, translated by William Johnson, written by Max and Monique Nemny, and this was, of course, originally written in French, I believe, and I got a deal for this one. This was only $4, but it's because somebody took a highlighter to it. This is probably the worst highlighted page, but I don't really mind. I've already read this and I wanted to add it to my collection. I have the second volume in this series, so now I have the first. And then Hemingway, In Our Time. I think I already have most of the stories in here in other collections, but I find it hard to resist these Scribner editions when I find them, especially the Hemingway Scribner editions. And this was a great find. This is The Cellist of Sarajevo, I believe, by Stephen Galloway. Can-lit novel. I have been toying with buying it on Amazon, putting it in my cart, taking it out of my cart, putting it on my wish list, taking it off my wish list. I've almost bought it 2 or 3 times, but I was glad to find this, and I only paid $8 for it. I think the synopsis is actually on the flap. Sarajevo, a city under siege as the mortars fall and snipers conduct their deadly business, a cellist sits at his window playing Albinoni's Adiego. When a bomb kills 22 people waiting in line to buy bread on the street below, he vows to carry his cello into the cratered street at 4 each afternoon for the next 22 days and play the same Adiego in memory of the dead. Unknown to the cellist, a young woman watches his performances more avidly than anyone else, for she is a counter-sniper chosen to protect him from the enemy she knows lurks nearby with guns poised and ready to shoot. Can she keep the cellist alive, and so what will it cost her to do so? Should be a nice light read. I am looking forward to checking it out. And then I found a collection of short stories, Mouse Woman and the Mischief Makers by Christy Harris, drawings by Douglas Tate, and these are Haida stories. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. My First Nations pronunciation is not up to par. But these are tales from Haida folklore, featuring Mouse Woman, the feisty Nernuk, or spirit being, devoted to maintaining the order in the world. The mouse woman appears as either a mouse or a tiny grandmother who keeps a particularly close eye on young people. When they are tricked or find themselves in trouble, Mouse Woman uses tact and even a little trickery herself to set things right again. In these stories, she frees young princes, helps a young princess, and thwarts a greedy hunter, all in her effort to keep things in balance. A storyteller at heart, Christie Harris is considered one of Canada's most important writers for children. She wrote hundreds of stories and plays, became a member of the Order of Canada, and won numerous awards and honours for her work. Harris is best known for her books based on the legends of the people of the Pacific Northwest coast, particularly the Haida. That should be an interesting read. I do believe it is a children's book. Nice large print. Should be a breeze to get through. Then I came across another biography that I have also already read. Good price on it too, $8. And this is Gabriel Garcia Marquez by Gerald Martin. This is a quite large biography that I read about a year and a half ago, and yeah, it was a good read at the time, and I have wanted to own a copy, but I wasn't willing to fork out I think it was about $30 Canadian, brand new. So yeah, $8, not a bad price. So those are the books that I picked up today at the bookshop. I traded in that big bag of books I had to get rid of, and yeah, old books for new books.